Hello there. Welcome to the fourth special Meet the Author feature here on the No Extra Words podcast. My name is Chris Baker-Dersch. I'm your producer and editor. Back in January, we randomly drew from our list of everyone who had contributed to the show up to that point 4 contributors to win a slate of prizes, including an interview feature here on the show. And so far, we have talked to Nels Hansen, Sarah Mitchell-Jackson, and Mary Alice Long. And today I want to bring you the final interview from Brianne Holmes. Brianne contributed a story called Going Off the Rails to episode 19 all the way back in October. So she was part of the earlier days of this show. It's a great story. And Brianne, because this is the fourth of the 4 of these, it was fun for me to listen to Brianne talk about her writing inspiration and her process and what she does and why and what she dreams about, and think of all the through lines and all the connections to the other authors that we've talked to and what they had to say about their writing. So if you have not listened to all the features, I seriously encourage you to go back and listen to all 4 author features, because I think they play really interestingly off of each other. And I look forward to bringing you more in the future. I'm not sure exactly what this will look like. This is the end of this series of them, but as much as I enjoy bringing you the short stories, and we're going to continue to do that, I do want to sneak in every now and then and bring you behind the scenes with the authors. So in the meantime, enjoy this part 4 of 4 of our Contributor Appreciation Month features. Brianne Holmes answering my questions about writing flash fiction and writing inspiration. And we look forward to seeing you soon to hear short stories here on No Extra Words.
Hello, my name is Brianne Holmes. I live in North Carolina, but I'm originally from Columbia, South Carolina. I'm currently a graduate student. I'm in my last semester earning a Master of Arts in English with a concentration in creative writing. I originally started writing when I was a child. I've been declaring myself a writer basically since I was 8, or somewhere thereabouts. When I was somewhere around 8 or 9, I went to a writer's workshop for children, and I was interested in writing before this, but it was really this workshop that solidified my passion for writing, that made me believe that that was something that I could do. One of the writers who was at the conference was selling and signing his books at the conference, and I bought one of his books and got his autograph, and I was all excited, and I started reading his novels, and his novels were really what inspired me to keep writing as a child. More recently, I have started dabbling in the short story. I've only been working with that genre since about a year ago. February, I was in a creative writing class, and we were required to write every single day in the month of February. And we had a professor who encouraged us to specifically try our hand at flash fiction. So I did. I tried. And in that month of February, I was able to put out quite a few pieces that I was able to go back and some of them revise. And so what appeals to me about the flash fiction genre is a sense of completion, I suppose, that you can get pretty quickly. One of my pitfalls as a writer is not finishing things. I love starting things. I am not as good at finishing them. So to have something as short as a flash piece is kind of, in some ways, a relief to me, because I'm able to finish it usually in one sitting, but then I can go back and polish it. I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist, which is part of what makes it so hard to finish something longer. I find flaws before I'm ever done. But with a shorter genre, it's kind of fun to get to finish quickly and then go back and revise it and revise it and revise it to my heart's content. And so that's kind of the joy of that genre, is the different process you can get into with revision than you can in other genres that take longer to write. Writing short fiction feels different for me than writing longer short stories or trying to write novels, because I almost feel like I have to entertain a different mental process. Writing flash fiction to me feels a little bit like writing poetry feels. And I am by no means a poet, My genre tends more to be fiction, but I have tried my hand at poetry, and I noticed that I operate similarly when I'm writing flash fiction. I tend to think a little bit more abstractly, a little bit more, but at the same time, more imagistically. So I try to think in terms of a strong image to carry the piece, or a really compelling narrative voice, because it seems that when you have such a compact space, you can't rely on plot as much. So that's when I find myself relying more on images or voice as I might in doing poetry. Something else I noticed a similarity between writing poetry and writing flash fiction is my actual process. With flash, I generally find it easier to write by hand before typing it up and revising it, which is similar for me with poetry. Longer form fiction, generally I just type the first draft, not always, but generally. But with poetry and with flash, for some reason, it helps me to write it out by hand first. I'm not completely sure why that is, but it just seems to work with my mind that way. As a reader and as a writer, some of what inspires me is music and poetry. Lately I've been looking a lot at the works of T.S. Eliot, as well as musical lyrics, especially things that are based on the folk tradition. So whether it's more of folk music or something with a bluegrass kind of bent, or folk rock, those kinds of music I've noticed tend to have really rich lyrics. And so I like to use a lot of those songs for inspiration in writing, because they tend to be image heavy, which helps me have images to sustain my writing. They use a lot of metaphoric language, which I think is really interesting, not only in flash fiction, but also in long-form fiction. Also, along with that, I have always found there to be something inspiring in science fiction and fantasy. And I think it's the way that the imagination is a little bit freer, opened up a little bit more than you would get in a realistic fiction. And that's always something that's intrigued me. Some of the authors that have had the biggest impact on me personally are J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, lately quite a bit Madeline L'Engle. I've read a lot of her works lately. I like the way she handles symbolism, especially symbolism from a Christian point of view. She handles it very adeptly. Also recently, another writer that I have found very inspiring is Graham Greene, mid-20th century Catholic writer. As far as where I would hope to see myself in the future, well, I'm actually hoping to teach as well as write, so I'll probably be faced in the future with a balance between professional life and writing life. But in a perfect world, I know the first thing that would happen would be that I would get published very shortly. That would be what would happen in a perfect world. I'm currently working on a novel and short stories, and partly I'm working on it for my master's thesis, although I'm hoping to lengthen it a bit because it's not quite novel length yet. But it is a series of connected short stories set in the future. And I'm really, for this particular work, I was inspired quite a bit by song lyrics and poetry, especially T.S. Eliot. And I would really like to finish this up and get it out into the world. As far as the distant future, I certainly, as any writer, want to write a novel. I've started several that I never finished. So I think what I would like to accomplish after I finish what I'm working on now is to sustain a more novel-length story, finish it, revise it, and see where it goes from there. Another thing I would like to do is to inspire other younger people to pursue, well, really any of their aspirations, specifically writing. I'm hoping to teach English in a high school, and so in that setting, I feel like I have an opportunity to do for people essentially what was done for me when I attended that writing conference as a child. It gave me the confidence that I really needed, and that's the kind of confidence that I would want to give other people who are thinking about writing and putting out their work, but just haven't quite had that push yet. So thank you for listening to my thoughts, and I appreciate it. Have a great day. If you would like to get a hold of me, you can follow me on Twitter at Hobbit Holmes. That is Hobbit, like the hobbits in Lord of the Rings, at Hobbit Holmes. And you can follow a couple of links there to some pieces that I have had published, including the first story from the novel and short stories that I'm currently working on. Thanks.
No Extra Words would like to thank Chanillo.com for their sponsorship of Contributor Appreciation Month and allowing us to reward our fabulous contributors. Chanillo.com, CHANNILLO.com, is the web's best source for serialized literature. Visit them today, find out how you can subscribe to the right number of series for you and support writers, and let them know you appreciate them supporting your favorite podcast. Chanillo.com, that's CHANNILLO.com.